Video game music is music. Some of the greatest composers of our time no longer sit in concert halls. They sit in studios inside their bedrooms, crafting tracks that impact us both in and outside of gameplay. So while music in game is obviously critical to the games that they inhabit, I would say that just chilling and listening to game music is my favorite way to enjoy it, to really absorb it, and how incredible the very best OSTs are, both the new and the old. Now, my vinyl collection consists of a myriad of genres. Lots of hip hop, of course, but you'll also see soul, jazz, funk, and lots of others. Honestly though, when I sit down on the couch with a cup of cocoa and a good book on my Kindle, I curl up to the joyful jazz of Katamari, or the funk-driven bops of Persona 5, or any number of games that have absolutely nothing to do with my love of said game. Video game music rocks, and that warmth and crackle that a record player and a pair of your favorite monitors brings is second to none. So join me fireside as we thumb through the shelves, throw that needle on the platter, and talk 5 more incredible video game vinyl that you definitely need in your collection. Suikoden 2. Suikoden 2, man. One of the finest RPGs to ever grace the PlayStation, and my personal favorite game ever made. Released in 1998, this game takes you for an insane tailspin of political drama, intrigue, heartbreaking betrayals, and even some heated cooking competitions. Set in a world torn apart by war, you step into the shoes of a young hero who must rally 108 stars of destiny to overthrow a tyrannical regime and eventually even overthrow Dracula. Necklord needs to probably pay some royalties. I mean, what would Drake do? Add in addictive turn-based combat, base building, and an unforgettable story, and you've got an RPG that still stands tall in a very crowded genre. But the glue holding it all together is the music. It'll suck you in harder than Abysmal's tentacles. This isn't that kind of game though. Composed by Miki Higashino, the soundtrack is like a character in itself, evoking the joy, sorrow, and tension of the journey. It masterfully blends orchestral and folk elements, creating a soundscape that feels timeless yet distinctly tied to the game's thoughtful world. Take Reminiscence, for example. This track is a slow, heart-wrenching piano piece that plays during key moments of reflection and loss. The beautiful vocal melodies and strings that collide with the keys really take this one to the highest level. Then there's The Chase, a frantic and pulse-pounding theme that kicks in during one of the most incredible boss battles of all time against the man himself, Luca Blight. Its fast-paced strings and off-kilter percussion put you on the edge in the best way possible, preparing you for the multi-segmented conflict to come. Die Pig, indeed. Instrumentally, Higashino incorporates strings, woodwinds, and military-style percussion alongside traditional Japanese instruments like the shamisen and the koto. This blend gives the soundtrack a unique flavor, seamlessly matching the game's mix of East Asian, European, and traditional militaristic influences. Suikoden 2 soundtrack may not have won any major awards back in the 90s, but it's become definitely a cult favorite, topping countless greatest video game soundtrack lists of all time. Whether you're orchestrating an epic battle or quietly mourning a fallen comrade, the music ensures every moment sticks with you long after you put down the controller. And for those that missed it the first time around, Suikoden remasters are coming soon. Thanks, Konami. You finally did something right. Shinobi 3. Now, 1993's Sega Genesis classic, Shinobi 3, really felt like a ninja simulator to 8-year-old me. This was such a vibe back when I played it on my Sega channel in late 1994. With fast-paced action, fluid animations, and tight controls, the game is often considered the pinnacle of the Shinobi series. Definitely is by yours truly. You play as Joe Musashi, a shinobi out to dismantle the criminal organization Neo-Zed. Again, they just never learn, do they? From slicing through enemy hordes to riding on horseback and even surfing, Shinobi 3 keeps you on your toes. You know, those toes that got those little socks on that it looks like you only got a couple. But speaking of toes, your tapping ones are in for a treat because this game's soundtrack absolutely slaps. Composed by Hirofumi Murasaki, Masayuki Nagao, and Morisuke Tagagi, the music in Shinobi 3 pushes the Sega Genesis YM2612 sound chip to its friggin' limits. This results in a high-energy blend of synthwave, electronic funk, and traditional Japanese melodies. The first level's theme, Idaten, can be summoned at will by my psyche, like my own personal music jutsu. This song immediately sets the tone with its fast-paced rhythm and energetic synths. The triplet hi-hats drive a breakneck pace with beautiful syncopated bass that ties this one together nicely with a bow. And come on, we can't forget Shinobi Walk, a song that lives up in my noggin forever. The bass line is so dope, how it just walks around constantly, titularly even. The way it weaves together multiple sections is absolutely brilliant. I love how it uses traditional Japanese scales to give it a grounded, authentic vibe, while the Genesis synths keep it firmly rooted in that 90s drip. The soundtrack's instruments might be purely digital, but the composers managed to wring a surprising amount of depth out of the Genesis sound chip, still sounding incredible to this day. Crisp bass lines, punchy drum tracks, and haunting melodies create a sonic palette that's as sharp as Joe's katana. So whether you're pulling off sick ninja moves or just looking for some synthwave nostalgia, Shinobi 3's soundtrack has got your back. It's the perfect blend of adrenaline-pumping action and traditional ninja cool. Tetris Effect. Now, can you tell me the last time that you cried while playing a puzzle game? Because I sure can. Prepare to stack your blocks while simultaneously transcend time and space with Tetris Effect, a 2018 reimagining of the classic puzzle game that feels less like a puzzle game and more like a puzzle game inside a deeply emotional experience. Developed by Resonair and led by Tetsuya Mizuguchi, the mastermind behind Rez and Luminous, Tetris Effect takes the core gameplay of Tetris and merges it with stunning visuals, dynamic soundscapes, and mesmerizing spiritual level flow that is a primary characteristic of all their games. You're not just clearing lines here, you're clearing the subconscious mind and becoming one with the universe. At the very heart of this immersive experience is the soundtrack, a dynamic, adaptive masterpiece composed primarily by Hydelic. The music doesn't just drone in the background, it evolves and interacts with you, responding to how you rotate and drop the tetraminos. The OST actually does a fantastic job capturing aspects of this by baking in some of these sounds in time with the beats, so you won't miss them too much. Genres range from electronic to ambient to ethereal vocal tracks, making each level feel like its own unique pilgrimage. Now we gotta start with Connected, the game's signature track. This uplifting anthem hits directly to the soul, like that opening piano passage combined with absolutely stellar vocals from Katie Brady that eventually gives way to this larger than life combination of drums, piano, strings, and vocals. with a chillingly beautiful message about the connection of a parent and a child. This is the one, guys. You will shed a tear. Another favorite of mine is City Lights. This is definitely the jazziest track on the entire OST, with an epic piano solo leading to massive crashes and arpeggios so gorgeous you can almost see the cityscape flying past you if you close your eyes and really listen. Finally, all that build up drops you off in the middle of an incredible drum arrangement that is so playful with the instruments on offer. It's beautiful. Instrumentally, the soundtrack leans heavily on synths, percussion, and layered vocal harmonies, creating a sound that's simultaneously futuristic yet deeply human. It's not afraid to slow down and let the moments breathe, especially during transitions, which keeps the emotional pacing just as engaging as the gameplay. The soundtrack didn't just win over fans, it wowed critics too. It was nominated for multiple awards and snagged a win for Best Original Score in a Video Game at the International Film Music Critics Association Awards back in 2018. Many players also cite the soundtrack as a core reason why they keep coming back for more, even years after release. Tetris Effect stands as one of my favorite puzzle games of all time, and taken as a whole, one of the greatest achievements in gaming soundtracks ever. You gotta listen to this one. Signalis. Now let's dive into the eerie, pixelated world of Signalis. Released in 2022 by Rose Engine, this survival horror game is a haunting love letter to classics like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, but with its own sci-fi twist. You play as Elster, a replica android searching for her lost partner in a derelict, dystopian facility filled with cryptic puzzles and grotesque enemies. The story is an open-ended, emotional journey that blends existential dread with moments of tender humanity, all with a cosmic slant. Matching the game's unsettling vibe is its soundtrack, a moody, atmospheric blend of ambient noise, industrial soundscapes, and sparse melodies that crawl right underneath your skin. This one is far less, quote, listenable than some of the others on this list, but hey, I love a good challenge, and it's a great piece to throw on during Halloween season. Composed by Thousand Eyes, Cicada Sirens, and Tom Shelley, it's less about catchy tunes and more about crafting an oppressive, frightening feel. Rotfront is a great example of the unsettling nature of this soundtrack, an industrial behemoth of a track with grinding machinery sounds and dissonant synths that heighten the tension during key moments of exploration. The safe room music is some of my favorite for any game of this type, reminiscent of Resident Evil's best, but somehow even more spooky. The detuned warble of this heavy hammer action E-piano, combined with an ambient hum that lets you know you're never really safe, even when you think you are. It's something else. And the way some notes have a much harsher attack than others, seemingly at random, is really, truly terrifying. The instruments and sound design lean heavily on analog synths, distorted mechanical sounds, and eerie, fragmented vocals. The soundtrack perfectly complements the retro-futuristic aesthetic of the game, making you feel like you're exploring a world both beyond our own, yet also swiftly decaying. Now critically, Signalis has been celebrated for its sound design, and the soundtrack is a huge part of exactly that. While it might not be an easy listen outside the game, it's a masterclass in using sounds to reinforce storytelling. It has drawn comparisons to Akira Yamaoka's work on Silent Hill, which is about the highest praise a horror game composer can get. So if you're in the mood for music that's equal parts beautiful and scary as hell, or just want to revisit the suffocating dread of Signalis, This soundtrack will take you right back there. Just maybe don't listen to it alone in the dark unless you really don't like yourself. Hades.
You're going to love this.
Hades. I dare someone to go through my channel and find every mention of this game. Yet somehow I've never directly covered it. Weird. In this undeniable indie darling from Supergiant Games that took the gaming world by storm in 2020, you play as Zagreus, the hyper-rebellious son of Hades, slashing and dashing your way out of the underworld in a roguelike odyssey packed with god-tier storytelling, addictive gameplay, and endlessly charming deities. But what truly elevates this tale of mythological family drama is its soundtrack, a perfect marriage of grit, grandeur, and emotion. Bring your tissues for this one too. Composed by Supergiant stalwart and mastermind Darren Korb, the music of Hades is as iconic as our baby girl Dusa. We do anything for Dusa. It's an eclectic blend of genres mixing gritty rock, massive orchestral arrangements, and moody Mediterranean-inspired melodies. The tone shifts seamlessly between raw power and haunting beauty, just like the game's incredibly poignant story does. Now let's start with No Escape, a track that greets you every time you die, which is gonna be often, especially early on. Its brooding strings and foreboding guitar riffs feel like a gentle nudge from Hades himself, reminding you that escaping the underworld isn't supposed to be easy. I can hear Dad's dumbass taunting me right now. Now, one of the greatest main themes I've ever heard, this one brings the rock power chords and beautiful synth work to the forefront. Not to mention that drum breakdown is crazy. Then of course there's Good Riddance, Eurydice's song, a poignant acoustic ballad sung by longtime collaborator Ashley Barrett. When you encounter Eurydice and Asphodel, this track brings a rare moment of peace, grounding you in the emotional depth of her story with Orpheus. This one is way more than just a video game song. It hits your boy like a twin fist to the gut. Haunting, gorgeous. This is just good music, y'all. Instrumentally, the soundtrack is packed with standout elements. Gritty electric guitars, pounding drums, and exotic string instruments like the bouzouki and baglama. These touches give the music a distinctly Greek flair, anchoring the game in its mythological roots while still feeling modern and accessible. The Hades soundtrack dominated 2020 awards season for good reason. It snagged the Best Music and Audio Award at the 2020 Game Awards alongside countless other accolades just piling up like dead bodies down in the underworld. This soundtrack goes the hell in, or in hell. So whether you're a fan of headbanging riffs, heart-wrenching ballads, or tracks that make you feel like you're defying death itself, Hades has a little something for everybody. Crank up that volume, embrace your inner Zag, and remember, in the underworld, the music slaps just as hard as the enemies, and this one stands as a massive feather in my gaming vinyl cap. What are some of your favorite video game soundtracks to jam to? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, check out 5 other video game vinyl that stand proud in my personal collection. As always, make sure you like and sub if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.